Hey friends, this is Kenny the Messy Soaper over at Royal Appleberry, and what you're watching today, I've had so many requests for me to show you guys when I make candles. So, like I told you in my what to do before you start making candles video is, I can't really tell you how to formulate a recipe or you know, formulate a recipe. It's just like soap making. You have to formulate a recipe, and I can't really tell you how to do that because I don't know what type of wax you're using or wicks or any of that. But again, I want to say go to Stanley Handcrafted and Timber Ridge Gifts. Both of those guys are awesome, and they taught me everything I know about candle making. So I've already prepped my tins. Okay. I've already prepped my tins. I first start by putting my warning labels on the bottom, and then putting my wicks and stickers together, and then putting them in the tins. So I'm going to weigh out my fragrance, and I'll start with Market Front from Rustic Essentials, just because this will smell so fucking amazeballs. I was just very excited about this, and I know you guys were too. Oh, that smells so gosh darn good. So, I make small batch. Okay, yeah, I'm doing that in pounds. That's not what we want to do. Let me tear that out. But yeah, I do all my candles in small batch. 9 times out of 10, I'm only going to make 3 of each, just to see how they sell. And then when they do very well, then I'll make more. But I actually believe, yeah, I'm going to make 6 for this one. Yeah, I'll do 6 for this one. Just because I think this is going to do very well. I know it's going to do very well. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to use 2 ounces. And with candle making, weighing everything is your best bet to keep everything accurate. And you need to check and see your usage rate for your candles, for your fragrance oil, and all of those things. And like I said, it's just a lot I can't tell you because I don't even know what type of wax you're planning to use. But, so, now that I have that done, this is a different setup. I hope you guys can see everything, and I hope the angle is just not too weird. But it's the best I can do because it's clamped onto my table. So, here's my pouring jar. So I'm going to go ahead and set that on there. I kind of did the math to figure out how much wax I needed for 3 candles. So then I would just double that. And I don't know why I just keep turning this off. So annoying. Alright, so let's see. Let me grab my math. Okay, I need 33 ounces. And I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, I don't think you can see this. Yeah, I'm not sure what you can see. No, you can't see it, but I have my Presto pot with my wax sitting off to the side. So I just milked a bunch until it's all the way at the top. And then I just kind of refill as I need it. Guys, sorry for me stumbling all over the place. This is my first time ever filming. Normally I'm just making candles, but since I was asked so much, I decided to come in and, you know, share with you how I do it. Or not how I do it, but just you want to watch me make candles, should I say. So I need 33 ounces. 33.60 to be exact. And that should fill up my so, and even when you pour, I just like to use a measuring cup to pour into my pouring pot. Just make it easier, but when I pour, I always get a mess. So I put down a piece of wax paper and a piece of paper towel just to keep things neat. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is check my temperature on this because it matters. Alright, I got a little ways to go. So I'm going to bring you guys back when my temperature is at where I want it for my... Actually, you know what? My temperature is good for pouring my fragrance in, adding my fragrance in. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add my fragrance. You can add your fragrance at about 175, 180. I do mine about 175. It's 177 right now, so that's good for me. Be sure to check your flash point. And I'm looking, so I'm going to wait because the flash point on this is actually 156. If you don't know what flash point is, that's the point at which your fragrance scent flashes off of your oils. So then you'll end up with it smelling like nothing. So I'm gonna wait till this drops down to about 150. I would say for me, probably 150. I think 150 is good for this, just because the flash point is 156, and then we'll be ready to put our fragrance oil in. Alright guys, I'm back, and I'm going to add my fragrance oil. This is actually at 148. I just took it off. If you keep it on like a metal, I use this pouring pot, which is aluminum. If you keep it on like a metal or aluminum surface, it's going to hold heat. As soon as I took it off and gave it a little bit of stir, the temperature immediately dropped. So I'm going to go ahead and add on my fragrance and stir as I add it, and keep stirring. It's recommended that you stir for about a minute or two. I tend to go about 2 minutes, so I'm gonna keep stirring that. And I like to use this whisk because it's rubberized and I don't like that clacking noise. I really hate to hear like metal scrape against metal or anything like that. Or I'll even use a silicone spatula. Tim over at Timber Ridge, he uses a little thin, I don't even know what it is. It's a thin little, almost like a skewer or a steak. That's what it looks like, a steak. He uses that because it doesn't incorporate a lot of bubbles. I find that this whisk doesn't really incorporate too many bubbles either. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to keep stirring. Okay, so now that I've stirred for about 2 minutes, I'm going to check my temperature again. We're at 140. So, I like to pour my fragrance oil. Oh, also, check the usage rate from each supplier to see, because they do have usage rates. This one is 100% on non-skin contact products. And I would love to use this in a soap, but I just can't, because I just want it. Anytime I get my hands on a coffee, it's going in the candles. I just have to. So I'm going to save this one, and maybe down the line I'll buy one for a soap. But right now I just really need to make this for a candle. But yeah, so I like to pour my what am I trying to say? Oh, I like to start pouring. For me, about 130. Sometimes I'll even go down lower than that. So we're going to see how I feel and how this is behaving. Because I learned from Stanley Gifts. Oh, no, it's not Stanley. Stanley Handcrafted, sorry. I learned from Stanley Handcrafted that, like, the lower temperature you pour, but be careful, you got to do your own research and learn. But the lower temperature you pour, the less time it sits burning off your fragrance oil. So I like to try to get it pretty low before I start pouring it. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep checking. Yeah, it's about 133 now, so we'll give it a little bit longer, and then I'll go ahead and start weighing my candles. Okay, so I am ready to start pouring. And when you pour at this low of a temp, it gets a bit cloudy, but that's okay. It's actually not bad for the candle at all. That's when you know it's a good time to pour, when it gets cloudy. This is my opinion. Alright, so I'm going to tear that out. And I already know at how many ounces I want each to be. Okay. So I'll pull that off and set that to the side and keep filling. I add my wick bars. I add those after I'm done. And the reason why I do that is because I don't like to put the wick bars on first, because I always end up pouring the wax on the wick bar, so I just kind of wait. And it should be pouring over this piece of wax paper because it will kind of spill down the container, or you can just hold a piece of paper towel up to it. I'm going to grab a piece of paper towel. And candle making, to me, I guess I'm Kitty the messy candle maker too, because candle making to me is very messy, just like with soap for me. Good, I just can't even get over how good this smells. I'm going to show you guys a little tip that I do when I get to the end. So this is basically, although I'm weighing them, I like for them to be at a certain point, so they're all pretty much full to the top of, well, what's good for it to be with my wick. So this is what I'll do. I'll go in and top them off, each one of them off. I know you guys can see that cloudiness, so you know it's solidifying. And I'll even show you in my pour picture that is thickening. I'll go ahead and finish topping these off. So what I do with this, what's kind of solidified, what I'll do is take my heat gun and just reheat it so it'll melt. Anyone, honestly, it's just something that I like to do. It helps me clean my container. I know you guys can't see me, but my pour picture a little bit easier. And then what I'll even go in and do is, let me clean up the spatula first. Bring you guys back. Let you see the mess that's going on here. But I'll actually go in and scrape my container, my pour picture with a spatula. Get all those last drops out. I don't like to waste anything. I know, like the camera, the pour picture is in your face, but that's what I'm doing. Alright, so I like to get everything in there. And then, don't wash your pour picture when you're doing your next batch of candles. Just take a paper towel and wipe it out. Alright, so I'll move you guys back up. And then I'm going to add my wick bars. And I let them solidify, then I cut them. That's basically how I do my candles. And then I go in and add my labels. And if you don't have wick bars, you can simply use popsicle sticks or chopsticks. There's many different methods you can use for a wick bar. I just found these on eBay. Did I get these from eBay? It was either eBay or Candle Science. One of the two I got them from. I believe it was eBay. I want to say it was eBay. But, yeah, so that's basically what I do. And I'll let these solidify. It doesn't take long for these to solidify. I'll leave them alone for about an hour or so. And then I'll come back through. Now what I'm doing now, if you can see, like this little right here, this little gap right here, or little notch, I like to take my wicks and notch them in there to make sure they're not moving. But my candle, my camera's flashing, my battery's dying. So basically, like I said, that's what I do. And I go in and cut my wicks, and then I'll bring you guys back and let you see that. Alright, so see you then. Okay, so I made quite a few candles last night. So I just go through and pop all of my little tab thingies off. And then I'm going to cut them. Cut all of my wicks. So I'll just take these few off for now, and then I'll show you. These are wick cutters. I got them from Amazon, I think. And you just kind of go, you want to keep them about a quarter of an inch long. So I just cut them about there, right where my lids won't be mashing them down. So that's about good. And then I just take the lid and pop them on. And I keep them grouped because all of these are different fragrances. And I just kind of stick a little label on that tells me what fragrance it is until I'm ready to make my labels for them. So, and also I keep the wicks that I cut off. I keep these because you can buy the tabs for these and the little tool to clamp them in, so you still have good wicks to use. Don't throw those out. So that's basically what I do. Although these could be used immediately, I like to let them sit for about 2 weeks. Honestly, to get a good hot throw. If I was to burn this right now and just like, okay, let me show you. Like, I cut that and my wick moved a little bit. All you have to do is take your heat gun and just kind of go over it lightly. Not like, and don't put your temps really high, but just kind of lightly go over the top and it'll smooth it right back out. But oh, I was talking about cure time. I kind of had a brain fart there. So yeah, I let them sit for about 2 weeks before I burn any. You can wait 5 days, you can wait 3 days. It's really just up to you. I just kind of feel like to wait. It's no need to, I just do. And then I find over time my fragrance, my cold throat becomes stronger and stronger, you know, when they're just kind of sitting around curing. So once I make my labels for my market front candles, which are here, then I'll show you guys how to do that.